Hello, this is Dr. Jones. This is a supplement to the Excel for Regression um, video that you saw. In it, I neglected to go through how to create a line chart uh, to do the plotting of the information. So I've got a new set of data. It's not the same set of data that was in that video, but I have used uh, my uh, information for uh, Jacobs Solutions and for let me see here who else it was, and Sensata Technologies. So that's the data that's in there for the last 52 weeks from when I'm doing this. Actually 53 weeks, but that's no problem, no big deal. I've also run the regression equations as I showed in my video before, so I'm not going to run those again. This video is just about creating the chart. So what you need to do is we need to insert some columns in here in between the information. So you'll notice here's the data that we used, and these are the regression equations. This is the one for Sensata. This is the one for Jacobs Solutions, and this is the multiple regression using both Sensata and Jacobs out there. So we need to have the data where we actually plot our expectations of how well these equations predict. Now, notice we have been using up to this point the R squared numbers. Notice that we said in this one, Sensata has about a 0.83, just shy of a 0.83 R squared. So it explains about 83% of the variance. Jacobs would be doing just shy of 0.63 or 63% of it. And then the two together, because this is a multiple regression, we're using the multiple R figure. So that would be just over 0.94 or just over 94% explained by the two together. And we are explaining the SPX, or in this case, the S&P 500. And we got the data from going to MarketWatch, as I did in the other video. So we need to add several columns here. We need to add the date column again, and then we need to add a column for the single regression plotting for each one of those, and then the multiple one. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to take the date column and copy it and paste it directly there. Now we're going to use the intercept and the beta, the intercept right there, and then the beta for that stock times each of these observations. So the equation, if you go back in there, is y equals mx plus b. Okay? And in this situation, let me make that a little bit larger for you, a little smaller there. Okay, y equals mx plus b. In this case, what we're looking for is we're wanting to predict this out here, that's our y, using mx plus b. Okay, so we are going to be using, this is the x and this is the b, and it's going to create our ability to, set this all up. All right, now here we go. So pardon me, this is the m, this will be the x, this is the b. So here we go. So the first one is just the ST. So I could easily type this out as you would see in your textbook. The B sub 0 plus B sub, in this case, ST. But that just seems like a little bit of extra work in there. So what I'm wanting to do instead is I'm going to just put in here ST, J, ST, and J. Okay. Same thing's going to come out. It's just now instead of having all the B's and the subs and the whatever, we're just going to go with this. Here you go. This is how we start off. Equal sign, because this is a formula. And we're going to start off with regression. Pardon me. Go back to this. Equals intercept. We have to hit the function for key because we have to make this absolute. We do not want that to change. So notice I didn't do any other kind of formulas out there or whatever. This is equals times this intercept function right there. And then we have the function for key, or the absolute value of this, where the, not absolute, the absolute cell reference right here, it's always going to stay there. Then plus sign, open parentheses, click the coefficient for the stock, again, absolute cell reference right there, which is again either the function for, or you put a $ before the K and before the 19. Multiply that times the cited value of ST. Close parentheses and then hit enter. Okay? Now, we need to do the same thing for J, but you can't just copy it over because we're not using the same intercept and stock betas on there. So we hit equals, we go down, click that, absolute cell reference, plus, open parentheses, stock, absolute cell reference, times, and then we do J's stock observation, close parentheses. Okay. Now we're going to do the multiple one. So we're going to hit equals, go down here to the bottom one, intercept, absolute cell reference, plus, open parentheses, go down to the bottom, ST, absolute cell reference, times, and then the ST observation, close parentheses, then add to that, open parentheses, the J absolute cell reference times the J observation. And there we go. So now we have those. We need to plot those. I'm going to insert one more column here, okay? I need to plot those versus the actual stock numbers. So we're going to copy that and we're going to paste that there. That wasn't what I wanted to do. It pasted as if it was a date. There we go. We're back to it. Okay. Now, I don't want those getting all freaky numbers, so I'm going to change those to 2-digit numbers, and then I'm just going to pull this down just like this. All right. Now, I'm going to highlight. And what am I highlighting? My date references the actual stock price, or in this case, the index. The regression progression, so what prediction did the regression say would happen if we used the Sendata numbers? What if we just used the Jacobs solutions? And what if we used the two together? So I've highlighted all of that right there and just that data. Then I go up into Insert, and there are multiple kinds of plottings I could use, but I'm going to use a 2D line chart. I need to fix this just a little bit here. I'll show you. Let me pull it on over to make it easier to see. Okay. And I could move it anywhere. Doesn't matter. I'm going to make this a little larger here. We're going to make it a little larger this way. Now, notice there's a lot of empty space. We don't need all of that. It looks like we could change our minimum out here away from 0 to, let's say, 4,000. So I'm going to change my minimum to 4,000. Okay. And what that does is it helps to make it easier to see the actual lines than what I had before. They were all glommed up before. They're still very close, but it's a whole lot better. I could possibly do it to 45, and notice it's readjusted to 75 here. Didn't have to go all the way to 8,000. So let me see if that works. Change that to 4,500. Yeah, that's just a little bit better. Not a lot, but a little bit better. Now, here's a problem I have. The orange and the blue are fine, but this kind of dark gray and the green, that's not so good. It's harder to see. So let's change this color. So I clicked on that line, click on the color thing here, and change this to a definite black. And then let's change this from a pastel blue to a more definite blue. And then let's change this one to, say, a little brighter green. And that's fine. We can still do it. Now, here's what we're trying to do. We are trying to see, notice that the SPX, the black line that I have here, the SPX is what we are trying to predict with our regression. And we said that of the two singles that, we go back over here, of the two singles that the Sendata, ST, did a better job of predicting than Jacobs did. And if we look at it, the orange line seems to follow the black line a little bit better than does the green line. I mean, they're both in there pretty well, but the orange seems to follow a little bit better. But we also said that the two variables together did a better job down here did a better job than either of the variables did singly. And if you notice here, the blue line stays even a little bit closer than the orange line did to the black. So from a visual standpoint, you can see that yes, what our regression numbers show, one of them having a better predictive value than the other, visually we can see that. Now we could go ahead and go back over here on our numbers if you wanted to and change this to 5,000, and it does even more. It gets even closer, a little bit bigger out there, maybe to 7,250 over here. So it's, I mean, I'm making those changes. It's not important to do those changes, but I just did that so that you could see a little bit better and a little bit better on my graph. And it's just by changing the numbers here or changing the colors here. My dates are here at the bottom as actual dates, and you can see the values over here on the predicted values as well as for the SPX, the actual values that are being looked at. And then what you would do is you would write, as I say at the end of the other video, you would write the explanation, and you can talk about it from the numbers here and from your chart. But this is how to make a chart from using the projected numbers and doing that with the intercepts and with the beta for the stocks themselves. Hope this helps. Thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye.